Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about Black Clover episodes 91 and 92. I'm not going to lie, I did not make a review last week because, well, I was watching the episode and I was paying attention, but then I got to a point where I was just thinking, wait, I haven't taken any mental notes on what's going on here, and I don't know, it just didn't happen. I just decided not to do it. If I was not going to do it full on and with everything I've got, then I just didn't want to half-ass it. That being said, I'm not going to cover it too much since this week's episode was really, really good and really had way more to it than last week's. Without further ado, let's just get right on to it. So last week's episode was basically just a big battle between Mira Leona and Raya. It was a really good battle, honestly. Lots of action. Raya had some good comedy with like him turning into Asta, and then they had to figure out who it was, and that was very, very brief, but it was kind of funny. Seeing Asta freak out that there was another person, and Mira Leona was like, "Did I give you permission to make a doppelganger of yourself?" And so it was kind of funny with that. And then him and Mira Leona had a huge big battle, and she showed off really everything she's got. He mostly did, because he just ran through all of his copy magic. I think he copied like that pink-haired girl that used to be part of the Eye of the Midnight Sun's dragon. He copied a whole bunch of stuff. Even honestly, Yami's dark magic. So that was pretty cool, but none of it was good enough. And Mira Leona basically overpowered him with everything, and she used a new ability called Monozone. And this this is not a very good comparison because it's not one-to-one, and it's certainly really not anything like each other. But it kind of reminded me of like an awakened devil fruit user in One Piece, where basically they could turn the mana, well, in this case, they could turn the mana around them into their element or their like type of magic, and then use that to their advantage to power them up, make them go faster, and do all that kinds of stuff. So I don't know, it's not a good comparison, but it is what it is. It's the best thing I could come up with. Either way, it's a cool ability, and I really liked seeing Mira Leona kind of just go all out and balls of the wall with Raya. And then we get a very brief, not brief, I don't know if it was brief, I don't remember. Either way, we get a little bit of a shot of like Yuno going up against characters, and Mimosa kind of has an independent thought from, like, obviously they don't know what's going on with Mira Leona and everything, but she has an independent thought about Yuno possibly having the ability to Monozone. So that's a really cool ability that, like, it's almost like an extension of Mana Skin, if you ask me. It's like Mana Skin is like just them like coating themselves with mana, and this basically expands it out so that they can like manipulate mana all around them. So it's a really cool ability. Also, before I move on to this week's episode, they do end up hearing a heartbeat. We don't know what's going on with that exactly, but it's coming seemingly from the center of their, like, Eye of the Midnight Sun's fortress. And so Yuno and his crew are heading towards that. But yeah, we have not learned yet what that is, but I have a feeling it has something to do with what happens in this episode. And that's basically just a big battle between Licht and Julius. So before I get too far into it, there was some stuff about Ghosh, and he's just acting like, I'm not even going to talk about it. It was not even worth any of my time. Then there's some stuff with Yami and him just hanging out at the Golden Dawn's hideout or whatever, and he's waiting for Vengeance because Vengeance invited him to hang out and talk or whatever, and he thought it was going to be for an apology because of everything that happened with Finral. But Vengeance is nowhere to be seen, and then we find out that he is going to talk to Julius, and that's when the bomb gets dropped, and it turns out that Licht is actually Vengeance. But, like, it's not that simple. It's basically Licht is living inside of Vengeance's body, and they're sharing the same body. So basically, Licht can take over, and his physical attributes change. So the scar on Vengeance's head disappears, his hair grows out, and he basically just turns into Licht. So first of all, Lick's goal is basically just to get the final 2 stones that are with Julius. Clearly, they ended up getting one of the stones from Yami. Well, not directly from him, but from his like room, which seemed like really, really bad. Why would he just leave it there? Why would he just leave it there? I don't know. Anyways, Licht is after the final 2 stones so that they could do the whole whatever their plan is. And he just starts battling with Julius, and it's honestly a really good battle. We got new scenes from the intro. It's the same intro, but it's new scenes. And honestly, I'm really, really happy with how this battle is going. As far as just like camera work and the animation, I really like how Julius dodges attacks, because it's basically like he's got his like time magic or whatever, and he's basically like time skipping all over the place. It's almost like Hit from Dragon Ball Super, where he could basically like, presumably he's stopping time very briefly so that he can move out of the way as all the attacks are coming after him. So it's really cool to see him like kind of basically time skip around, dodging all of Licht's attacks. During this, we get another quick flashback of Licht as an adult, well, both as a young kid and an adult, and again, it seems like he fell in love, or he like married a human, and at one point, humans and these elves were basically gonna like be chill with each other until something bad happened, and presumably a bunch of elves got killed. Elves? Or are they like pixies or something? They're like elves. Either way, something bad happened, and that completely destroyed Licht's trust of humans. One thing I do want to say though, this is like kind of a, like, I'm not sure if I'm hitting the nail on the head or whether this is something that's been brought up before or whatever, but Licht's like wife, I guess, ends up getting pregnant, and I think they mentioned that a couple of times, that he was going to be like a father or something, but then I feel like there was an offhand comment about like Licht being friends with somebody, and I think that maybe Vengeance is maybe related to this girl, and I don't know, it's just kind of like, I really should have written it down or rewatched some scenes or whatever, but like, that's what I'm thinking. I could be very wrong, and just whatever. Either way, we get that quick flashback as he's fighting Julius, and honestly, Julius has kind of been like, he's a very smart guy, he's not dumb. Just like Yami, he had been kind of at least a little bit suspicious of Vengeance, and it's just a weird situation because it's like, Vengeance has built out this entire squad, and they're the best squad of the Magic Knights, so it's like, come on. So he is the captain of this super popular squad, but he's also kind of the bad guy, and it's a weird situation because like, they're both sentient. It's not like Licht is just taking over and it's like some kind of like split personality. Licht is inside his body, and Vengeance actually calls him like his oldest friend, so there's clearly something going on there where it's like, they're both clearly sentient maybe most of the time. Maybe Vengeance, when he's in control, Licht is paying attention, but when Licht is in control, Vengeance is paying attention. Also, there have been some signs of this. Apparently after Licht and Julius had like their first encounter and Licht got hurt, Vengeance kind of took a backseat and like disappeared for a while, presumably to heal up his hand, because it's still his body, so even if Licht gets hurt, he's still got to kind of like do something. And also that would explain like, during the like battle in that like cavern, when the praying mantis captain showed up, and I think the silver eagle showed up or whatever, also blue roses I think too, to help Yami, like Vengeance wasn't anywhere around. Not that like some of the other captains were around, but like Vengeance I feel like would be one of the first people showing up to help Yami, but he technically was there because he was Licht. So that's an interesting little thing that like, they've kind of been building it up in the background, especially with like, up in your face though, they've had Yami being like suspicious of him, be like whatever, and then they had that moment where he took his helmet off, and you're supposed to be as an audience thinking, oh, he's just a little bit afraid of his like appearance and whatever, it's chill, whatever, and then it turns out he actually is like maybe a bad guy. It's a weird situation. Also, they bring up that Fuegoleon probably knew about this just as he like got attacked during that whole capital whole situation. He probably was shown it before he basically was put in a coma. So that's basically why he's been in a coma, because if he was awake at this point, everybody would know that Vengeance is licked. So at the very least, there's a reason for him to be in a coma for this long, however long actually that is. But yeah, this entire battle is really, really cool. It's like both Julius and Lick's magic are really, really interesting. They're both very versatile and very just like flashy. And so having them both go up against each other and flying around in the sky and trying to like outwit each other is really cool. And again, you get all these shots of just like Julius teleporting basically everywhere and trying to avoid like a light whip. It's really, really cool. Towards the end of the episode, Julius actually gets hit though by Licht, and like they kind of have a conversation about how like, oh, it's probably been a while since Julius has actually been like hurt in any way, because he is the most powerful wizard in the land and he's like just got really crazy magic, so he probably doesn't get hurt very much. And Julius agrees, yeah, it's been a little bit, but then he drops a kind of a little bomb, another bomb, I guess, for this episode, and it's the specifics of his magic. So, like, I think Licht makes a comment about, like, how it's like, oh, his power is, like, over time and whatever, but Julius is like, it's not that simple. It's more like he's stealing time from his targets, and then can store it up and use it however he wants. So he basically heals himself, and just by reversing time, and that's an interesting little facet to his magic. It's not like he's just stopping time or like reversing time, and like it actually makes more sense this way because it's a more centralized thing, because time magic in a lot of ways is kind of a confusing and like broken sort of like magic, regardless of what series you're in. Any type of power that involves time control is a little broken, and so you kind of have to think of a smart way to like localize it and centralize it, so it's not like, oh well, he could just turn everything around and everything's done and everything is like back to normal. So this is a good way, I think, of kind of making it so that Julius is still really powerful, but at the same time, his magic isn't like all powerful. He can't do everything. He can get hit if he isn't like quick enough on the draw. But he can also kind of maybe like make up for that. So even if he can theoretically like, oh, see the future by like reading where mana's gonna go and whatever, it doesn't mean that his body is up to the challenge of moving that quickly. So it's kind of an interesting little like facet to his magic that it's not as perfect as you think it would be, but it's still really, really powerful and really, really cool. So after Julius heals himself, we really kind of end the episode on them going at it again, but this time Licht actually sees that Julius is picking up speed, he is actually dodging his attacks way better than he was before, and he's starting to get overpowered by Julius, and really that's the end of the episode. That being said, there's some weird ominous stuff about this. It seems really weird that like they would come to a head at this point. You would think that like Licht would not, like, if you're gonna reveal that Licht is actually one of the like good guys in disguise, and you're gonna have like the most powerful person in the series so far go up against them, like what, he's just gonna come out unscathed? Either one, I honestly think that Julius might either get really, really messed up from this, mentally, physically, whatever, or he might die. I mean, like, listen, I don't know what goes on after this. Obviously, the manga is way further on than the English dub of Black Clover, and even the Japanese dub is a few episodes ahead, too. So something might happen next episode that I just predicted. I don't know. But I have a feeling it's not going to be as cut and dry as you might want it to be with Julius against Licht. Things are certainly not going to go back to normal after this, because now it's like clear that like Vengeance is Licht. He can't go back to being the captain of the Golden Dawns, So what are they going to do? So you have Golden Dawns losing 2 of their captains. Well, captain and vice captain. So they're in a really tough spot. I've got some really bad feelings about Julius, although, who knows? Maybe he'll get out of this and it'll just be like, oh, well, now we need to regroup. Something bad is happening at the Midnight Suns thing, and he needs to go help them. I don't know. It could be the kind of thing where it's like Mira Leona's group, at the whole squad, ends up being victorious at the Eye of the Midnight Suns hideout, and when they come back all hunky-dory and happy, they realize something crazy happened at the Capitol. That's just a theory. Maybe I'm on to something, I don't know, but that's just a thought. That being said, I really did like everything that was shown in this episode. There was nothing, I didn't have any complaints about it. I really, really liked that they kind of dissected at least a little bit of Julius's magic, as opposed to it just being like, oh, time magic, whatever. Honestly, it's a pretty good surprise that Licht is actually Vengeance, because again, they had this entire whole build up to being like, oh, something's going on with Vengeance, and then they realize, as an audience, you realize, oh, he's just scarred on his face, and then that basically is like, oh no, don't worry about him, he's fine, but he's not. So I really like that they kind of played a little bit of a switcheroo again with that. Overall, I really like this episode, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. That way you'll get all the notifications when I upload. I will see you guys in another video. So long!